Earl Stewart on Cars. Mystery Shopping Report. We have mystery shopped Gunther. We went out and we have our mystery shopping report. Agent Lightning went in there and deliberately brought up the subject of leasing and purchase options and some of the information. So we figured he would probably be pre-warned about this sort of thing happening, and the mystery shopping report will answer that question, whether or not he was pre-warned. Okay, here's the mystery shopping report. I'll be speaking in the first person as if I were Agent Lightning. I arrived in the late afternoon and decided to go with the cover story that I recently got a new work-from-home job, and I'm considering leasing a vehicle to secure a lower monthly payment. I've never leased before, and I'm quite nervous and have lots of questions. I walked into the new car showroom and was greeted by a salesman who asked if I was here to see anyone in particular. I said no, but I am interested in buying a new car. So I started out by saying I was going to buy. I didn't want to be too obvious. The salesman said, perfect. I mentioned that I really liked the blue 2024 Taos out front, that I went with my new job story, and I had never leased a car before, but could possibly consider it since I wouldn't be driving many miles. The salesman smiled really big and said, leasing is a great option. Many people don't consider. There is a money factor involved that will save on interest financing versus buying. It's sort of like a loophole, if you will, when you lease. You don't pay interest or finance charges. Now, that is a deception, a clever deception. Obviously, there is an interest factor in a lease. That's the interest that the leasing company is paying, and they're passing that along to you, but they don't call it interest, they call it a money factor. So he's playing with words, and he's deceiving at this point. You don't pay literally a finance charge, but you do pay the same amount of money or maybe more. As a matter of fact, car dealers are allowed to mark up the money factor if they choose, and then they get that kickback from the leasing company. Okay, the salesman also added, don't tell anyone this. You know they're lying when they say that. Also, don't tell anyone this, but Labor Day is the best time to buy a car, so you're in luck. He asked for my license and said 85%. This salesman tells Agent Lightning that 85% of people, including himself, lease instead of buying to save thousands of dollars on interest. I mean, that's just a stupid lie. He goes on to say, you'll also get a 5-year phone app, 3 years of maintenance and roadside assistance, and a 4-year, 50,000-mile bumper-to-bumper premium warranties. He then suggested getting the keys so we could take it for a spin. I followed him, off we went. We found the Taos, a blue 2024 SE model with an MSRP of $33,536. During the nice test drive, David shared with me the safety features, and we talked about how different they were to those in my older Volkswagen Atlas. Once again at the dealership, we returned to his desk. He asked me how many miles I would want. I said, I'm quite new to this and know nothing about leasing. What would you suggest? He said 30,000 miles, 10,000 miles per year, or even 36,000 miles over 3 years is usually standard for most people. The fact of the matter is the average driver drives 15,000 miles a year. So the lower he can get you to say your mileage is, the lower his cost will be. It would be your cost, too, if he passed that savings along to you, which he would not have done. So he says, however, I would go with 40,000 miles since you'll likely buy it at the end of the lease. So he's setting that up. This is a doozy. If you see you're going to go over on mileage and don't want to keep it, just give me a call. And I can have our dealership buy it from you instead of returning it to the bank to save you the money. That's another loophole. This guy is creative. He's got a vivid imagination. So we can work it out. Don't be nervous. I got your back. I got you. I asked if he could show me in writing what this would look like and what I'd owe at the end of to buy the car and keep it. He assured me he would. So she got it right up front. Says, what can I buy the car for? And he said, I'll get that for you in writing. Well, I sat and waited for about 15 minutes for him to come back. He apologized, saying they were quite busy, and showed me some numbers he'd written on a Post-it note. With $5,000 down on a lease, where'd that come from? $5,000 down on a lease, my payment was $365 versus a $500 payment on a purchase. Of course, At the end of the lease, you don't own the car. At the end of at the end of a purchase, you own the car. So obviously, you're going to have a better deal there. He said he was guessing on these numbers, okay, covering himself, CYA. He pulled out his calculator to prove that leasing would be the way for me to go. I told him, this isn't going to work for me. My husband is a numbers man, and he's going to want to know the exact number for 3 years of leasing, plus what it will cost me to buy it out in the end, and then also to finance it for 60 months. He mentioned again that even with special financing, in the end, I would pay about $5,000 more to buy versus lease. And he's got a gift for gab, throwing out these half-truths and untruths faster than you can approach each one of them. Excused himself again. I sat for 25 minutes before David came back and asked me to follow him. I'm going to introduce you to the man, the myth, the legend himself. And this is a great comeback by Agent Lightning. I interrupted. Mr. Gunther is here today. He laughed and said, no, I wish, but my sales manager, Eduardo.
He's
Eduardo, the man, the myth, the legend. We went to Eduardo's office, waited for him. I sat for 15 minutes before Eduardo finally came in. That's a lot of time. Shook my hand, introduced himself. He asked, what are you hoping to accomplish today? I said, well, I explained to David here, I'm here to possibly lease a new Tahoe. He said, okay, great. David spoke up and shared that I was waiting for some numbers on leasing versus buying so my husband and I could make the best decision. Eduardo said, well, if you're looking to lease, we have two options. Now, this blew me away. We have two options. One through Volkswagen, and these would be the numbers David wrote down on the trusted Post-it note. He chuckled. And the other way is through our sister company. But it's highly unusual. It's the first dealer I've heard mention having their own leasing company. But he says this is by far the best deal if you use our sister company. But you have to have at least a 740 credit score, which is pretty strong. Put $5,000 down and have nothing derogatory said on your credit, and no other outstanding loans or leases in your name. If you do, you'll either need to pay those off or not qualify, and your monthly payment will be $299. So they're dropping it down if they go through their sister leasing company from, what was it, $350 to $299. Now we're getting out of the nitty-gritty. How much will it be to buy out at the end of the lease? He said, I can't tell you that until you're ready to go to finance. But wait a minute. The salesman said, visibly annoyed, I said, well, David told me, he said you could get me a printout of numbers showing leasing versus buying. The sales manager responded, you don't have to get so frustrated. I said, well, I've been here for over an hour, and now you're wasting my time telling me you can't give me anything in writing. He scoffed at me and challenged. I said hi to you as you were walking in the door. It hasn't been an hour. Agent Lightning came right back. I know it's been exactly an hour because I took this selfie to send my kids that Mom's excited and buying a new car today with a timestamp of 317. You're not going to get over Agent Lightning. She's sharp as a tack. Busted. Okay, but he didn't even apologize. He shrugged it off, grabbed a sheet of paper from his printer, handed it to me with a pen, told me to write it down. I'll give you the numbers, he said. You don't pay taxes on a lease up front. What does that mean? You pay it every month.
You do. If that $5,000 is a down payment, exactly. You absolutely do pay sales tax.
Exactly. I said, no, I already told him that I know nothing about leasing, and you aren't being very helpful. He then started dictating numbers as I wrote them down. He said inception fees would total $2,300 for things like title registration, acquisition fee, and first month's payment, and a tag. I pushed further and asked him to share what it would cost to buy the car when the lease is up. He said, you'll get that when you're finalizing the deal. So as you can see, the bottom line, not fulfilling the promise to give her the information. I said, I just can't believe there's no way for you to show me exactly what I'm going to be paying. He replied, no, not until you're ready to buy. I said, I am, but until you give me hard numbers to show me and my husband, I can't do that. I was fuming at this point and told him, forget it. Just show me numbers on paying cash. He said, tell me when you're ready to write it down. Just let me know.
So rude.
I wrote down as he spoke. Okay, here we go. $33,536 MSRP, $27,495 selling price, $1,933 taxes, $989 dealer fee, $395 processing filing fee, and $448 for a new tag, $31,268 out the door. I said, I don't know why anyone would ever do business with you, and I just stood up and walked out. David followed me like a puppy dog with his tail between his legs, apologizing. I'm so sorry. I snapped back, you should be. You shouldn't have told me up front that you're going to be able to print anything for me and save us both time and energy. He said, no, I had no idea he was going to be able to print anything for you today. I said, no, you knew damn well what my expectations were, that I needed to have it in writing, and you took me in there without even talking to me. Shame on you.
Wow.
Good for you. Good for you. She got head to head. I promised. I continued to my car. My husband was waiting. David kept following me until he realized my husband was in the car. My husband knew I had already been in there for an hour and a half, and that they weren't playing nice. He was just opening the door to step out when David turned around and walked away. I was shaking. He had made me so bad, and she was. She was emailing us as this thing went by, but they really pushed hard, and well, we'll see. The vote is yours.
Yeah, I'm going to go for an F. So F from me.
For me, I'm total F failure.
My grade, F.
F. I almost never give an F. I can't remember my last F. I got to give Gunther the big F. Hi, this is Earl Stewart. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to be notified of new videos that we post to our YouTube channel, simply click on the subscribe button and the bell icon in the lower right-hand side of the screen.